Okay, so there are new rules on social media. There's new things working. You have to post 400 times a day, apparently. AI, you have to be in the search terms. You have to make 1,000 TikTok accounts. Like, there's so much to unpack today because Gary Vee posted a video literally within the last 24 hours about the new rules of social media in 2026 and how to grow, how to generate business from social media. And so I thought today we would go through it and unpack it together because, as I know you know, social media is always changing, and Gary Vee specifically is somebody I really like to break down what he says. We pay attention to Gary Vee here at the office. So let's get into it. As always, we have a content idea today. We have a couple social media headlines. We have a voice note at the end. So there's a lot to do today, but let's get into it. Let's clock in and let's go to work together today. Okay, so we need to talk about media kits for a second, because if you've ever connected with a brand for a deal, you know the first thing they ask you for is a media kit. It's really what makes a brand take you so seriously, but it's also one of those things that no one wants to sit down and make and design, which is exactly why I'm so excited that today's video is sponsored by Gamma. Gamma is an AI design tool that builds you a genuinely beautiful presentation in minutes, and the best part is that it's completely free to start using. So I wanted to show you because I rebuilt my entire media kit in Gamma. I did not open PowerPoint one time. You literally just start with a template, drop in your audience analytics, your stats, your photos, and Gamma designs the whole thing for you. And what I love so much about it is that it doesn't look like a template. It looks like you literally hired a design agency to design it for you, but I put it together in under 20 minutes. The templates do all the heavy lifting, so there is no blank page, no design skills needed, and no nudging text boxes around for 3 hours, which we all know can be so frustrating and so tedious. And the look of your media kit looking really professional is really, really important. So whether you're putting together a media kit, a content strategy deck, sending a brand proposal, this is what I would start with. So go use Gamma to make something you're actually proud of. It's free. The link is in my description. It's so easy to use. Thank you so much to Gamma for sponsoring today's video. All the details are down below, and let's get into it. Okay, so let's break down the new rules of social media. I'm so excited. So I have so many thoughts on this that we will go through. So let's kick it off with the first thing he says about interest media, which you're busy blooming. We all know this, but let's get into it.
We don't even live in social media anymore. We now live in interest media. 5 years ago, you got content from the people you followed, even if you didn't give a shit what your cousin was doing today. I started a TikTok account. The first post on that account with 0 followers got 8.2 million organic views.
So interest media. So you know what's kind of interesting is, do you guys know Natalie Barbu? I'm obsessed with her. She's a founder of Rella. She was actually talking about this because she went to Cannes Lions. This last week was Cannes Lions. And she was listening to all these different brands. Every brand ever is in Cannes Lions. If you don't know what it is, it's like this big, it's like the marketing Met Gala of the year. It's in the south of France in Cannes. And every brand ever is there. And so all of the brands were talking about when they hire influencers, this is what they said. They said they would rather work over, like, rather than working with a lifestyle influencer, they want to work with a creator that has maybe a smaller audience, but they're really good about talking about one topic. And so anyways, this is like the biggest theme I have seen through 2026, and something I really do stand 10 toes down on is that having one topic, even if you are a lifestyle creator, that's amazing. Like, lifestyle content, I love vlogging, your routines, your daily life, all of this, behind the scenes, whatever. But nowadays in 2026, there has to be one topic that infiltrates through all that. So it's not just a day in your life. It's like a day in my life as a girl who's trying to blank in 2026, or as somebody who's trying to organize your finances, or whatever it is. Like, there has to be that one through line through your brand, which is this, because I'm sure you guys have noticed this. Like, you don't really see people who you follow on your feed as much unless you literally go to the following tab of TikTok or your subscriptions on YouTube. How social media works in 2026, it's all categorization, like on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So you have to have those topics so the algorithm knows to put it on certain people's pages. So I love that he started with this. So, okay, that's the first big point, which we all know here because you're busy blooming and we're just still on the pulse here. Okay, the next thing he talks about is why content isn't working. And then he asked the audience, like, okay, who has ever posted or tried to grow on social media and it's not working? Okay, let's hear what he has to say about this.
Whatever you were doing was not working. It could be multiple things. You gave up too early because you didn't have the patience.
This is what we're talking about for the summer. If you're new to the office, new to Busy Blooming, right now in the summer, our overall vibe for the office is letting the concrete dry. A couple weeks ago, I posted a 3-month blueprint for the summer of just letting the concrete dry, stop repouring it, stop rebranding, pivoting, starting over, whatever. Just keep going, not posting the same thing over and over again, leading into insanity without testing, but just sticking to what you want to talk about and standing 10 toes down on that. Like, this is what I want to talk about. This is my topic. This is my through line, and keep going and pivoting within it. So anyways, I love how he's like, you probably just gave up too early.
If your content is completely selfish and it's only about like, hey, this is what I do and I'd like you to give me money so that I can do it for you, that is not going to work. It's like boxing. If every single post you have is a right hook, the audience starts getting used to it and they're able to duck. If you do not put out the jab content or the feint content to set it up, you will lose.
Here's my take on this. I think of like the content he's talking about is like the right hook. You just keep like punching and punching away at somebody. That is the content that is establishing your reputation, that you like really want to be known for. That is for your audience. Like, that is for people who follow you, they know you, all of that. But the knockout content, in my head, is how I would see this, is that is the content for people who don't know you. So this is the content where you have really bold, hot takes, controversial takes. Something else I heard actually the other day was that somebody said that every time you post a piece of content, the same amount of people who like that content shouldn't like it. Like, there should be an equal divide if you're trying to do this like bold knockout content, like break through the noise. There should be an equal amount of people that love it and hate it. And if they don't, that might mean that you're not being bold enough. Like, you don't have a bold enough opinion. So think about that. Like, okay, if I'm like kind of doing my right hook content, I'm like letting the concrete dry, whatever, just like keeping the same state of the union with your content, talking to your audience. If you want to go through a bit of a period of growth, you want to do this like big, bold, reach new audiences, are you posting something that people could disagree with? It's really important. It's scary, but you don't want to be everything to everybody. So anyways, I love this. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, now he goes into how much content should you post? How much content should you post a day?
How many pieces of content did you post in social yesterday? Raise your hand and show me in fingers how many you posted. 6. I posted 432.
Awesome.
I'm being serious. How many people here follow me on social? Raise your hands just to get a sense. Thank you. Have some of you that just raised your hands starting to notice that there's new accounts starting to pop up for me? So it's not just Gary Vee, it's Gary Vee on podcast. It's Uncle V on fucking TikTok. I will probably have, by the end of the year, over 1,000 different accounts. Because what I've been telling you, that you don't need followers to get views, I started saying to myself, I'm not gonna cry for myself that my 20 years of work have been commoditized. I'm just gonna go on the offense of the same thing. This, my friends, is about adaptability. This is being prepared for the moment.
So this is so... Okay, firstly, we need to address the 432 pieces of content of it all. I posted 2 clips in the podcast yesterday and thought I truly was like slaying the game. He posted 432 pieces of content. Here's the thing. This whole concept that he's saying is really, really interesting. And it kind of unravels the idea of... He's basically saying that he has spent 20 years building an audience of 50 million followers. And so now, basically, he's noticing that the views on his big accounts, like if his TikTok has 10 million followers, the views are going down. And so he thought, okay, I'm just going to start 1,000. He's basically said by the end of the year, he wants to have 1,000 different types of Gary Vee accounts, leaning into this whole interest media thing where he basically has like a Gary Vee quotes, a Gary Vee whatever. And what this basically does is it lifts up our thinking as creators of having these like the single thought of how social media used to work, where you have this profile and your profile has followers and then those followers watch all your content and like whatever, because that's just not how it works. Like, your content doesn't even go to those followers. So it's like, why not just start a bunch of different accounts and just rather than trying to show your content and grow your following, you're growing your reputation by like infiltrating your voice into social media everywhere. Like you're not thinking about the followers, you're thinking about your reputation across platforms of like, how can I just get like millions of pieces of content on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, without thinking about your followers. Here's the thing. When Gary Vee talks about this is not really for influencers. And I know that's basically who a lot of us are here at Busy Blooming, is that you want to get followers and brand deals. Like you want to have your Instagram that has X amount of followers and then brands work with that. Gary Vee, a lot of his content is towards marketers. It's business owners, small business owners that are trying to get sales. So there's definitely a caveat here where I do think it's important in the influencer marketing world to have your profile that has X amount of followers, your brand, everything, and that's what you grow. But it really did open my thought here of it's not necessarily like the only end game. Like if you are trying to sell a course, like if you are somebody who's trying to sell something, if I'm trying to get people to go over to Busy Blooming HQ, or if you're trying to get someone to watch your podcast, it doesn't actually necessarily matter that if you have a random clips account, but then those clips are getting 1 million views or 100,000 views, it doesn't really matter that it's not under your account. So anyways, this is very interesting to me. Also, like a deeper level to this is it is really detaching your ego, because ego is a huge, we talked about this in HQ on Monday about how like your ego does drive a lot of your action with content and content strategy, and you create for your ego. And this is what he's saying basically, is that you're going to start a new account and have 0 followers, but who cares if that video does really well? But it's hard to start a fresh account or try something new. So anyways, this was very interesting to me, because for me, for example, it's like I could start a Busy Blooming Clips TikTok or a Tess social media tips TikTok, and then just like grab a bunch of clips. It's not under my Instagram and not growing that following, but it's infiltrating me and my voice through social to lead to my podcast, to lead to HQ. So it's very interesting. I love that whole concept. It's just fun to think about, like fun to think all these different options.
Every single person goes to an AI bot and says, I need a chiropractor now. Who should I go with? You better understand that every one of you now live in an AI world. This is only going to compound dramatically. And I need you to have a brand, because brand is going to be the only thing.
This is my biggest, strategy, I would say, for everybody, because AI is so overwhelming. Like as content, all of this is overwhelming. Like we're scared as content creators. Post 400 times a day, start 1 million TikTok accounts, AI is coming. Like it's a lot, but one thing that can give you and me and everybody like some peace is you always have your brand. Your brand will never be replaced. And that's why your brand is so important. And what your brand is it's not what you talk about, it's how. So you have your topic, I have social media and content and like whatever, and then you have yours, your 2026 goal of your journey to your weight loss journey. That's your thing. And there can be a lot of fear mongering of like, okay, well, AI is going to replace it and all your tips and advice are stupid and no one cares. But what he basically goes on to say is that if you put your brand at the forefront, that's everything that matters. So if you're going to say, here's how I'm going on a weight loss journey and here's what I'm learning, no one cares. But if you say, I'm in my 40s and I've just gone through this like unique experience that you can relate to, and I also am a vegetarian, and I also am a single mom, and like whatever, your brand and how you talk about it, how you shape it, that is how you really do win on social media, is your brand. He's talking about this more from a business perspective of like, okay, if you have clients, you should reach out to them and whatever, your reputation with your sales, but it's your reputation with your content, and your brand with your content is so important. I do have a whole video from last summer about how to build your brand world. The PDF of the Canva template of how to do that we have in HQ, but that video just basically goes through it for free too if you want to do more on that. But your brand is so important. Like no one can take that away from you. Like what you say and how you say things, like no one can do it like you. Nobody can. Anyways, okay, that's everything we'll discuss for Gary Vee's video. I just feel like it's so interesting. I would love to do more content like this of reacting to people's like advice and takes on social media. I find it so interesting to hear what people think. And like was it 2 weeks ago we talked about how like social media advice can ruin your life, but this to me is interesting to get into other people's minds of like how they view it, and it's inspiring and it's interesting. You can take it or leave it. Like that's what's so fun about this too. So anyways, okay, that's enough for the new rules of social media. Let's get into the rest of the show. Let's talk about a content idea for the week. Let's get into the biggest headline. There's a new YouTube update, which is kind of crazy. So let's get into it. Okay, the biggest headline of the week before we get into anything else is that YouTube has brought back DMs. Like YouTube has DMs. I actually saw somebody on the Busy Blooming YouTube post this, that like there's DMs on YouTube. So this to me says a lot about YouTube. So here's the article. YouTube brings back DMs after 6 years without them. And this will be in our HQ newsroom. So you'll spy a new messaging icon on YouTube. So this is from Mashable. They said 6 years after YouTube kicked direct messages to the curb, the platform is bringing them back. Announced Wednesday, so about a couple of days ago. Or this I think was last week. After 6 months of testing, YouTube now allows users to share videos through a rebooted messaging feature. And in November 2025, they said that this was the top request. So I actually don't have this yet. So if you're looking on the screen, if you're just listening, there's like on your homepage of YouTube, there's a little messaging icon. I don't have it. So I'm curious if you guys do. Like go check on your YouTube app. Do you have the DM feature? But this is so interesting because we talked was it 6 months ago? We had Alexis Barber here on the show who worked at YouTube. She launched YouTube Shorts, and she was like, YouTube doesn't have DMs. Like they're not trying to be social media. They're trying to be entertainment, which is true. And so what this tells me is that they are trying to make Shorts happen. They're trying to make Shorts happen, and Shorts have not really happened. Like Shorts is growing and growing. Creators are going through them, but it's not like Instagram Reels or TikTok. It's not the same. Like the user behavior is not the same because there's no social aspect to it. And so much of TikTok and Instagram short form video is social. Like you send it to your friends and you like comment it to your friends. Like it's so social. But YouTube, because the innate nature of the platform is entertainment, Shorts they miss that social feature. So to me, this shows YouTube Shorts is really trying to infiltrate short form video and take over, which I think they will and can. So anyways, very interesting that you can now apparently send Shorts. I don't have this feature. I wonder if it's only in the US. Let's quickly check. Okay, yeah, so this is rolled out in the US, UK, Brazil, Singapore. This was available since March, and then everywhere else is rolling out. So we'll see. But anyways, very, very interesting. YouTube direct messages are here, which means YouTube Shorts is trying to enter the chat. Okay, let's get into our content idea of the week. I did a little bit of a facelift this week on HQ. Isn't it gorgeous? Okay, let's get into the content idea of the week. So there is so much fun content going around right now. I also saw somebody said they used last week's content idea from the show and they went viral. Like, I'm obsessed with that. Okay, so my favorite content idea from the report. If you're new and Busy Blooming HQ, every single Friday, I post a trends and content ideas report, hand by hand, like typing these out. I do all the scrolling all week, and then throughout the week I compile 7 ideas to fill up your content calendar every week, and then they all are in this big idea vault, and it's just like my favorite thing ever. So anyways, from last week's report, most recently, the advice I needed at X not now is my favorite idea. Let me explain. So as you can see on the screen here, so this says career advice I needed at 22, not 29. I love this. There are so many ways that you could use this content idea. So what this basically is something that you could use in a talking to camera video, a carousel, even text on screen and load up an Instagram caption, a Substack article, YouTube video. Like there's so many ways you could do this. But again, talking about all this context of Gary Vee and like what he's saying about interest media and your brand is so important is stuff like this, where I could say advice I needed at 100 or at 100 subscribers, not 100,000 subscribers. And then I go into advice that I've learned about YouTube. Or you could say advice I needed to hear when I made $30,000 a year, not $200,000 a year. Like, you basically do a before and after of where you were and where you are, and it gives so much authority to your brand and what you do. You also could just make it simple of like career advice I needed at 22, not 29, but I love this. Like, again, great Substack YouTube video prompt too. Like, it's very interesting hook. Something else I wanted to say really quick, then we'll get into the wins and the voice note and everything. But you guys, all week we have been working on finally our Busy Blooming app. We're working on building like a custom app. It looks kind of like this. If you're on the screen, it's like this gorgeous, more modern looking app where you literally, it's not out yet, obviously, but when you'll literally get like notifications on your phone of like YouTube just launched DMs or like this is trending, whatever. I'm obsessed with it. Anyways, we're working on it and it's almost done. Like, it's going to be here really, really soon. So anyways, I'm really excited. Let's get into the weekly win, and then we have a really fun voice note question that we'll answer. So, weekly win time. So this is my favorite part of the show, my favorite part of the week. Whenever you listen to these episodes, maybe you listen on a Monday, on a Friday when these come out, whatever. It is so important to celebrate yourself because you probably work by yourself or with maybe a few other people, and you need to think about at least once a week, what is something you can celebrate? What is a win for you? Like, whether it's a TikTok video you posted or a mindset shift that you had or an unlock you had. Like, what is the biggest win that you've had this week with your mind, your routine, your social media, your content, your brand, sales, whatever? Comment it down below if you want to. I love seeing everyone's wins every week. Everyone celebrates each other here at the office. That's why you have an office. That's why you have coworkers. We're here to celebrate each other. So think about it. Celebrate yourself. What is a win that you had this last 7 days with social media and content? And comment it down below if you want to. And I would love to hear. My win of the week is something that I have found is really working, is inserting myself more into hot topics, which might sound so obvious, and I know it's something we talk about a lot, but 2 weeks ago, I launched a new podcast here at Busy Blooming. On Wednesdays, we have After Hours, but the goal of After Hours on a business perspective is to have a show every week that is really commentating on hot topics like the hot girl walk trademark thing that everyone's talking about that you should definitely capitalize on. Talk about it this week. It's doing amazing. Or talking about like Colleen Ballinger's going back on tour, or Trisha Paytas, or all of these things that I know the target audience of Busy Blooming talks about and thinks about. And so to have Busy Blooming as a brand infiltrated into those topics, I think is a huge win. It's something I've never really done. It's something that I'm obsessed with and I love to know all the details, but as a business and as a brand, it's never something we've really done. And so there's more goals with the show too, to just like connect, to be so unfiltered and behind the scenes and everything. Like, it is so fun. Literally was talking on the show on Wednesday with Maddie about like the low YouTube views that we're having. And like, it's very, very unfiltered. So anyways, that is a huge win because we posted a clip on Instagram this week and it has like 40,000 views talking about the hot girl walk thing. And so anyways, we talk about this a lot in the show, but if you want to get in on topics like this, like Love Island or the Patrick Ta controversy, like we had a big clip about that. Like, if you want to kind of cut through the noise, sometimes the easiest way to do it and the best way is to give your opinion from your brand and your topics and your through line relating to these really, really trending topics. It's a big win. So that's a big win for us this week at Busy Blooming. And of course, building our app, which I'm so excited about. Okay, let's get into the voice note of the week. We have a voice note. If you ever want to submit, anybody can submit. It's totally free. It's anonymous if you want. You can say your name and your username if you want to, but go to busyblooming.ca, podcast, drop down, submit your voice note. I love these every week. It's just After Hours. We got to name it something else, but this is the voice note Q&A section of the show to end every week. So let's take a listen.
Hello, Tess. I absolutely love your heart and all you do. I just recently came across your podcast a couple weeks ago and I have not missed an episode since. You're so wonderful. I would so love to be your friend. My name is Paulina. My husband Kyle and I started Creative Room Film Lab about 2 years ago. Lately, we've been diving into all the practicals, script writing, content creation, and we are focusing on doing more of like a founders-led brand approach with more storytelling and sharing like the real personal side of building this dream of mine. Actually, since I was a little girl, it's crazy. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you have any advice or recommendations for founders trying to put themselves at the center of their brand content? And then have you ever seen like a husband and wife approach content together? And last question is, what's the best business advice you've ever received? Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you so much for all the kind words and for submitting that. Like, that means everything to me. I'm so excited for you. I love the strategy of doing a husband and wife founder-led brand. Like, I think that's genius and it's different and I love it. You don't see it a lot. So you see a lot of like couples content, but you don't see a lot of husband and wife founder content, really. Like, so I'm excited about that. Okay, let's go through these questions one by one because there's a lot of good ones in here. Okay, so when it comes to building in public or founder-led content, I kind of have a hot take, okay? And take this or leave this. And you know what's kind of fun is people are answering these questions with me, like on Spotify comments or on YouTube comments. Like, we're all really social media professionals here. So if you have takes on this too, let me know. Sometimes I think that building in public can be hard on your brand. It's not always the best thing, depending on what your brand is about. Because I find if you build in public, and what I mean by that is you kind of vlog your journey or you vlog what you're going through or anything like that, you're attracting the target audience that you're building, and who you're targeting is founders, entrepreneurs. So if your business is not for entrepreneurs or founders, I wouldn't necessarily show the journey too much. Unless it is, then it's amazing. But if it's not, rather than just like showing the journey and the build and all of that, because you're going to attract a bunch of entrepreneurs, what I would do instead is really keep that top of mind and ensure that your content is all for the target. Like, for example, I actually saw this creator, I forget her business name, but she was starting a business around like dogs in Toronto. I forget if it was like dog food or accessories or something. And she literally said, she was like, I have built a following showing me building this, like, let's say it's dog accessories brand, but my whole following is entrepreneurs and I didn't reach my target audience. Like, I wish I would go back and only talk about the building of all this from my perspective of like why I love dogs so much and like why I want to start this dog accessories brand and all of this stuff. So I would definitely keep that top of mind, like just to ensure that you're talking about like to your target audience of who you want to sell to, if that makes sense. So that's one thing. I also love the husband and wife angle. Like, I would definitely lean into that. Like, talk about your why, your story, like do little funny trend TikToks about working with your husband. Like, I love that. I also work with my husband. It's something I don't talk about too much, but I could talk about it all day. Like, it's literally the best thing in the world. So let me know if anyone ever has questions about that. But yeah, I love that angle so much. And then when it comes to the best business advice, the best advice I've ever heard, I feel like, I mean, I'm such a broken record, and you guys have heard me say this a million times, but I think probably the most, like, two things that I love is, firstly, mental health is the best business strategy. And that changed my life when I heard that like Mel Robbins said this on a podcast where she was like, the best entrepreneur advice ever is that mental health is your business strategy, that if you are not okay as a founder, like, you are the business. And so that, I think, is probably the best advice I've ever heard, is that just like, it's literally strategic business wise to take care of your mental health and make sure you're okay. So I love that. Mental health is everything to me, as you guys know. So I love that. I also love the idea of hard decisions make an easy life and easy decisions make a hard life. I think that applies to business as well, is that hard decisions in your business make things easier and easy ones make it harder. Like, it's easier to just say, oh, whatever, I'll like push off filming that tomorrow or whatever. It's easier to just, film the episode later, or I'll, whatever. Like, all the easier things sometimes make your business harder. Like, the next day is going to be harder. So I love that as well when it comes to business. There's so many quotes and like things about all this that I could talk about forever, but those two come top of mind to start. So anyways, okay, this was so fun. Thank you guys so much for clocking in this week. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things swirling around to discuss in the group chat in HQ. And anyways, I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday if you're watching this the day it goes live, and let me know your thoughts about everything down below, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay, bye.